I've done videos about several of these devices that play nature sounds to help you relax and fall asleep. So what's different about this one? It's up top, where if I pop out this button, it says Sound Card. What? Yes, this is the Sound Oasis S550 Sound Therapy System, which cost around $50 to $60 when it was new in the 2010s. It has 6 sounds built in: ocean surf, stream, rain, white noise, summer night, and wind. But by plugging in a sound card into this slot on the back and then pushing this button to enable it, you can expand it to play different sets of sounds. There were 5 sound cards available for the Sleep Sound Therapy System, each with 6 sounds on them, so if you combine that with the 6 sounds that are built in, that's a total of 36 possible sounds. Also on the back is a rather large and good sounding 3.5-inch speaker, which they claim is omnidirectional even though it faces the back, and it also has a hook for mounting it on a wall and a stand. And the 2 main controls on the side turn it on and off and adjust the volume. And then this one sets the timer. You get choices of it automatically shutting off after 30 minutes, after 60 minutes, after 90 minutes, or operating continuously. And this large silver piece on the front isn't just a decoration, it's also a secondary button for turning it on and off. And on the other side you get an audio output jack, which can be used with either headphones or a pillow speaker, and a power input jack for 6 to 9 volts DC, center positive. You can also run it on 4 AA batteries. There were several different variations of this device, one which included a built-in alarm clock, but this one is the Sound Therapy System model S550-05. And inside the battery compartment of this one is a sticker with what I presume is some kind of date code, perhaps indicating this one was made in October 2012. And the volume level is infinitely variable from barely audible to quite loud, so that's pretty good. Not like some of these devices where you only get fixed volume levels. Before I move on to the sound cards, first I'll give you a sample of the built-in sounds. The first is Ocean Surf. So that's quite pleasant. Next is Stream. It's a rushing, bubbling kind of water sound. Then Rain. A little bit shrill. Next is White Noise. There it goes. But that doesn't sound very much like white noise. That's very rolled off at the top end. Because white noise is a flat response all the way across the audio spectrum, and this is clearly not. So that's a bit of a misnomer. I mean, even if you listen directly through the back, that's definitely not white noise. Next is Summer Night. Just crickets, I guess. Which is also pretty pleasant to listen to. And finally, Wind. That one I don't like. I don't like that whooshing sound. It's a little bit ominous. It makes you think there's a storm coming. Either that or you have leaky windows. I recorded all the sounds into the computer to determine their length. The longest is the Ocean Surf sound, which repeats every 43.7 seconds, and the shortest is the White Noise, which actually does have some periodicity to it. It's not actually a constant noise, as you can clearly see by the waveform. It repeats every 10.6 seconds. All the sounds use a sampling rate of 16 kilohertz, which means the highest audio frequency that can be reproduced is 8 kilohertz, which is right where my mouse pointer is. So, as you can see on this spectrum analysis, everything above 8 kilohertz is just aliasing distortion. You can see the mirroring effect most prominently on the summer night sound with the crickets. And unlike some of the other nature sounds players I've reviewed, they did a good job of masking the loop. There's no obvious break or glitch at the point at which the sounds repeat. Now as for what's on those sound cards, which were sold separately for about $15 each, let's go through them. First was Rhythms of the Sea, which they described as soothing ocean sounds, including crashing waves on Rocky Point, gentle surf in a hidden cove, Caribbean surf with seabirds, gusty ocean breeze, ocean rain, and harbor swell. Next was Wilderness Journey, featuring peaceful outdoor sounds, including thunderstorm in the wilderness, loons on Wilderness Lake, Mountain Valley windstorm, forest rain, waterfall, and roaring bonfire. Then Tropical Rainforest, exotic sounds of the tropics, featuring tropical rain, jungle stream with birds, coral reef surf with birds, cascading waterfall, Amazon lagoon, and tropical storm. Here's my favorite, Sounds for Sleep, soothing mechanical sounds, including fan, night train, country highway, interior of airplane, air conditioner, and vacuum cleaner. Yeah, fall asleep listening to a vacuum cleaner. And finally, white noise, an amazing selection of white noise, including white noise, pink noise, brown noise, gray noise, white rain, and white stream. The card mine came with was Tropical Rainforest. Then I went on eBay and got Wilderness Journey. So let's listen to what those sounds sound like. So here we go with Tropical Rainforest. I don't think there's any prohibition of hot swapping these sound cards, so it's currently playing the built-in sounds. I'll stick in the sound card and then pop out the button until it says sound card, and now it's playing the sound card instead of the built-in sounds. So instead of Ocean Surf, number 1 is now Tropical Rain. Doesn't sound much different than the built-in rain sound. And number 2 is Jungle Stream with Birds. Yep, that's what that sounds like. Number 3 is Coral Reef Surf with Birds. I would have liked that one, except those birds are a little bit too obnoxious. Next is Cascading Waterfall. Almost sounds just like white noise. Now is Amazon Lagoon, which apparently contains a lot of frogs. And finally, Tropical Storm. I went to put in this Wilderness Journey sound card only to discover it doesn't fit, even though it looks identical to this Tropical Rainforest card, which does fit. So what's going on with that? I knew going into this that there were different sound Oasis models, but one thing I did not anticipate is that somewhere along the line they made a very subtle change to the sound card design to make the older sound cards not compatible with the newer players. See, this one, the card edge where it plugs in is square, while this one has an angle cut into it. And also on the back, the older one is pretty much rectangular, while the newer one has beveled edges. So that's why this physically does not fit into that player, even though the cartridge shell is otherwise identical. So they purposely made it incompatible, even though that card edge looks like it has exactly the same context. The same number of them, the same spacing. These little protrusions are the same on both, but they made those little changes to prevent you from using the older cards in the newer players. But that's not stopping me, because I'm going to try to modify this card to fit. It's going to have a date with my Harbor Freight knockoff Dremel tool. The physical modification was successful. I cut the angle into this side of the card, and I also discovered the other side has a slight bevel to it, so I matched that. Now on the back it's not quite as pretty as the original, not even close, but at least now it actually fits into the player. So the question is, will it actually work? So turning it on with the modified sound card installed, the built-in sounds of course still work, but now I'll switch over to the sound card. And it makes no difference. It's still playing the built-in sounds. But I noticed eventually it starts to glitch. Hear that? And nothing works until I turn it off and turn it back on. Some of the sounds work, but yeah, and it locks up. So that sound card is having some effect, it's just making it not work right. Well, unfortunately, we won't get to hear the Wilderness Journey on the Sound Oasis. But if you've watched a certain TV show, you already know what loons sound like.
What the f*** was that?
A loon?
A what?
A loon. This is a bird.
Sounds like a f***ing wolf. Stupid Canadian wolf bird.
It's pretty easy to take apart one of these sound cards. You just peel off the label, then remove a couple screws, and the circuit board comes out. And if you're wondering what's inside, there it is, just one blob chip on a small circuit board. So if you're hoping to take out the chip and read it in a ROM reader to try to decode the sound samples, yeah, good luck with that.